This is Optimal Health Daily, episode 134, Nutrition Triggers and Tips, Part 2, by Nia Shanks of niashanks.com. And I'm Dr. Neil, your very own personal narrator. Welcome to a Thursday edition of Optimal Health Daily. This is one of 4 podcasts where we read to you from blogs for free so that you don't have to read them yourself, except on Fridays, where I answer your questions. Today's post is a continuation from yesterday, so if you're new here or skipping around, I'd recommend listening to episode 133 first. That's part 1. For the rest of you, let's jump right in and hear part 2 as we optimize your life. Nutrition Triggers and Tips, Part 2, by Nia Shanks of niashanks.com. Eat your protein. As mentioned earlier, protein is very effective at increasing satiety. I have my clients track their protein intake to get an idea of how much they consume. It's common for women to average about 40 grams or so a day, if even that. Once they increase their protein intake to at least 0.8 grams per pound of body weight, I prefer closer to 1 gram per pound of body weight, they experience greater satiety. This is also useful for people, such as myself, that experience greater hunger in the evening. As long as I eat a good amount of protein during the day, then I'm not ravenous at night. An easy way to make sure you eat enough protein is to center your meals on good protein sources, such as free-range eggs and poultry, grass-fed meats, wild-caught fish, and other sources. If you're unsure of your average protein intake, track it for a week and see where you stand. If you're not getting 1 gram per pound of body weight, start doing so and see what happens. There's a quick and easy high-protein yummy recipe, a high-protein cheesecake bowl, that is packed with about 45 grams of protein linked in this post. Fruitgate 2012. I made a comment on Facebook the other day, and I knew that it would cause some commotion. Basically, I said I eat 2 to 3 pieces of fruit a day and asked when people would stop condemning fruit. This statement caused some back and forth bantering, and some people ended up unfriending me as a result. I'm aware that fructose has a very bad reputation at the moment, and I won't argue that people should stop consuming high fructose corn syrup that is found via products such as fruit juice, sodas, and processed food items. But when it comes to the average person who consumes a lot of processed foods, fast food, and practically no vegetables or fruit, no one is going to convince me that encouraging someone to eat a piece of fruit instead of a Pop-Tart is going to cause them to gain body fat. Most people just need to start eliminating items such as fast food, sodas, heavily processed foods, and trans fat from their diets. Telling someone who eats Pop-Tarts for breakfast, fast food for lunch, snacks on candy bars, and drinks sodas all day long is going to get incredibly confused if you tell them to not eat fruit. My clients and the majority of people I work with want to shed body fat, build muscle, improve their health and energy levels, and just want to feel better. I'm not referring to individuals who want to achieve super low levels of body fat and who have already perfected the basics of nutrition, which I'll address below. I agree that people who want to reach incredible leanness may want to experiment with limiting fruit intake. However, it's not necessary for everyone to do so because I know a lot of individuals who can achieve and maintain single-digit body fat for men or low to mid-teen body fat for women who eat fruit on a regular basis. Bottom line concerning fruit, if you want to look better in a swimsuit, improve your health and performance, then feel free to eat a couple pieces of fresh fruit each day. As long as you're following the basics of nutrition that you're about to hear, you will not gain body fat from including fruit in your daily diet. Nutrition basics. If people focused on eating real, high-quality natural foods, think grass-fed meats, free-range poultry and eggs, wild-caught fish, fresh fruits and veggies, and listening to their bodies, eating when hungry, stopping when satisfied, and consume plenty of water each day, they would build the strong, healthy, lean body they desired. Apply those basics of nutrition for a minimum of 1 year. Follow them at least 90% of the time and be honest with yourself. If, after mastering the basics for a year, you still want more advanced nutrition information, then send an email and we'll gladly help you out. If you think you're ready for more complex nutrition methods, then answer this question. Have you mastered the basics? Honestly, have you? Why do you want additional information? Just like a beginner strength trainee will not get better results from an advanced program, you won't get great results from complicated nutrition methods if you haven't mastered the basics. And why would you want something that is complicated if you can get the same results with simple methods? My challenge to you is this: eat natural, whole, unprocessed foods that are in their natural state and meat that comes from animals raised in their natural environments. This means grass-fed meats, grass-fed dairy, if you can tolerate it or even want to include it, free-range poultry and eggs, wild-caught fish, and fresh fruits and vegetables. Eat those foods at least 90% of the time, and then report back to me in 1 year. Is that advice sexy or even complicated? Nope. And that's a main reason people shrug it off as useless or too basic. But I guarantee it works. They are the same guidelines I provide to my clients, and not once has someone needed anything more complicated than that to achieve their fat loss and performance goals. Additional random tips. Know what makes you feel best and what works for you. Experiment a little and see what works. Don't exclude foods entirely from your diet. The exception is, of course, if you have an allergy to a food or a food group, or eating a certain food causes you to feel lousy. If you love ice cream and proclaim, "I'm never going to eat ice cream again," what will you always want to eat and constantly think about? I truly don't care if you're vegan, vegetarian, paleo, gluten-free, an intermittent faster, or any other possible term used to describe your eating preference. Are you improving your health and building the body you want with that method? I truly hope so, because that is what I care about. I want you to get from point A to point B in a healthy way that is sustainable and works for you. Here is Nia's disclaimer as she mentions it at the end of her post. She is not a doctor, dietitian, or nutritionist, nor does she play one on the internet. She's just providing you with information that has worked for her and her clients, and this is not medical advice. You just listened to part 2 of the post titled Nutrition Triggers and Tips by Nia Shanks of niashanks.com. Now, I, on the other hand, do have my doctorate degree and am a registered dietitian nutritionist, so I'll just make a couple of quick comments about this post. When it comes to protein, yes, protein definitely has the potential to make you feel more full, and actually, we're finding it provides a nice source of energy. It gives you a nice boost of energy. For some people, it may not be advisable to bump up your protein intake. You should always just check with your physician to make sure. I would worry about those with any pre-existing kidney issues or a family history of kidney issues. That would probably be the biggest concern. But also keep in mind that if you're not strength training, you may not need that extra protein. Any extra protein can get converted to fat, so just be careful. I did like Nia's nutrition basics. She's absolutely right that if we just focus on whole, limitedly processed foods, is that a word, limitedly? You get what I'm saying. Then you're on the right track. It doesn't have to be all the time, but if you're mostly consuming those types of foods, you're probably doing okay. But the other half of that equation is, of course, portion size. And so like we mentioned yesterday, so if you can control your portions and consume these relatively unprocessed foods, now we're talking. I also like that Nia mentioned finding an eating pattern that works for you, for your lifestyle, that suits your tastes. That's really what this is all about. I've said this many times before. If you can stick to a moderate eating plan, then you're more likely to lose that weight, to remain healthy, or become healthier. That's really what it's all about. Can you stick to a moderate diet for most of your life? I mentioned at the top of the show that I answer your questions every Friday in a special Q&A episode. So if you want to send in your own question for me to answer right here on the show, come by oldpodcast.com. There's a red bar along the side that says Ask a Health Question. If you click on that, you can record a question and send it in. It's totally free. It can be about diet, nutrition, fitness, disease prevention, stress management, anything along those lines, and it's super easy to do. Or you can call in. The number is 61 I Love OHD. It's one of my favorite parts of the show, so definitely keep those questions coming. I hope you have a great rest of your Thursday, and I'll see you on tomorrow's Q&A show where your optimal life awaits.
Hello, Life Optimizer. This is Justin Malik, creator and producer of this show and Optimal Living Daily, the brother podcast of this one. Literally, I'm Dr. Neil's brother. If you like the format of this show, you'll love Optimal Living Daily too, where I also read to you from blogs, but cover other topics like personal development, finance, and minimalism from bloggers like Derek Sivers, The Minimalists, Zen Habits, and many more. So for more amazing content read to you for free, come subscribe to Optimal Living Daily too, and together we'll optimize your life.
You've been listening to Optimal Health Daily. Be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date on each new episode, and head to oldpodcast.com. That's oldpodcast.com for a free gift, as well as more actionable tips and resources to help you maximize your potential. Thanks for joining us, and remember, your optimal life awaits.